Coming up tonight on YCN News, the calendar says spring, but winter has been hanging on. We'll check the weather coming up. A change in leadership as the athletic director at Stevens High School resigns. And New Hampshire's top federal prosecutor resigns his post. For more news, sports, and weather, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening. It's Thursday, April 9th. I'm Laura James. Welcome to YCN News. Well, the winter of 2015 refuses to let up, even though spring began about 3 weeks ago. Those sounds of the season, the splashback and whoosh of tires on slushy roads and the crunch of boots on ice crystal paths were all heard today. Rain and icy road conditions caused one road accident in Windham County, Vermont. Sent the 73-year-old driver to the local hospital with minor injuries. The car she drove was totaled. Victoria Boudicca was traveling south on Camp Arden Road in Dummerston today about 12:20 p.m. when her Subaru Forester veered off the southern travel lane due to the icy road, say Vermont State Police. The car then went off the road and collided head-on with a tree, rotating the car 180 degrees clockwise. First responders got the driver out of the car and brought her to Brattleboro Memorial Hospital with minor injuries. Her neck and back were injured. She was wearing a seatbelt. Well, the first or deliberative session of Newport's town meeting is now history. Next month, the second or voting part will play its role in shaping Newport's future. There are contested races on the select board and school board. Incumbent Todd Fratzel seeks a second three-year term as selectman. Challenging Fratzel is Jay Clark, a volunteer firefighter and emergency medical technician for the Newport Fire Department. That according to the Argus Champion. On the school side of town government, two residents are vying for one-year term. Dan Bailey and Liz Hennig seek to finish the last year of the three-term held by member Karen Little. Little resigned from the school board several weeks ago. Hennig served on the board too and opted not to run again, yet will seek support to complete Little's term. Tonight at a meeting of the Newport School Board, the board's 4 current members will vote to select a 5th member. And in New Hampshire news, the top federal prosecutor for the state is resigning after nearly 6 years on the job. Sean Kakavas will step down on April 17th. Before working for the federal court system, Kakavas worked in the New Hampshire Attorney General's office. Among the many high-profile cases he prosecuted for the federal court is that of David Kowitsky, now serving 39 years in prison for spreading the hepatitis C virus as a medical technician. Kakavas also prosecuted and won convictions against child sex offenders, including a Manchester, New Hampshire attorney who sexually exploited her own daughter. U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder complimented Kakavas on his record of public service in a news release. Holder also thanked Kakavas for his dedication to New Hampshire citizens' best interests. In other Granite State news, this story goes out to area high school juniors and seniors and their parents or guardians. River Valley Community College President Dr. Alicia Harvey-Smith invites the students and adults to a luncheon this Saturday at the college's Claremont campus from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. In the Falcon Room, guests will learn of degree programs and college services available to RVCC students. College staff and faculty will be available to answer questions on course and career planning, transfer options to four-year schools as well. Financial aid concerns will also be addressed. Programs offered at River Valley Community College's Keene campus will be discussed too. Families are encouraged to attend to help guide students through the transition from high school to college student. For more information and to RSVP, you can contact Jillian Davis, Executive Assistant to the College President at 603-542-7744, extension 5527. Coming up next on YCN News, Vermont Governor Peter Shumlin appoints 2 new members to the Natural Resource Board. We'll take a look at Main Street Museum in White River Junction, Vermont, and will this winter-like weather stay with us? We'll have details when YCN News returns.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Laura James. In Vermont news tonight, the Green Mountain State works hard to maintain its natural environment. And to that end, Governor Peter Shumlin today appointed 2 new members to the state's Natural Resources Board. St. Albans City Manager Dominic Cloud and environmental advocate Elizabeth Courtney will serve as a member and alternate member, respectively. The Natural Resources Board administers Vermont's landmark land use law, Act 250. The 5-member panel meets monthly to address issues related to Act 250 rules, discuss policy issues, and hear requests to reconsider jurisdictional decisions. Before becoming St. Albans City Manager, Cloud served as director of the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, and Courtney is a landscape architect, an artist, and co-author of the book Greening Vermont: The Search for a Sustainable State. And as a follow-up to a story we reported last night regarding the use of Narcan by several first responders to reverse drug overdoses, Vermont also is focusing on its problem with opiate addiction. To date, nearly 1,900 Narcan kits have been given to first responders and trained healthcare workers at addiction recovery centers. Lives have been saved, yet the street drug problem plaguing Vermont continues. On April 28th, a court date is set for Robert Riggs of Hartford, Connecticut, on police charges of heroin possession. The 31-year-old Riggs was found to have marijuana in his possession as well, say police. Upon his arrest, he was being held at the Southern State Correctional Facility in Springfield, Vermont, for the lack of $2,500 bail. The arrest happened this past Sunday around 7:30 p.m. on I-91 northbound in Westminster, Vermont. Vermont is not alone in its focus on and plans to curb opiate drug use, addiction, and related crime. It is the first state, however, to stand front and center in addressing the issue. This happened during an earlier inaugural address by Governor Peter Shumlin. Coming up next on YCN News, Elizabeth DeRazio sat down with the owner of Main Street Museum in White River Junction, Vermont. We'll have that conversation coming up.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Well, checking weather now, those gray clouds and last night's snow make it seem like we'll never be rid of this winter weather. But that rain will come to an end soon, promise, and leave us with clear skies and some much warmer temperatures, too. Tonight's temperatures will drop down to a low of 35 degrees, and we'll have a 90% chance of rain and snow showers. That's similar to what we saw overnight last night. Friday, that rain will continue throughout the day, but temperatures will be much warmer, reaching a high of 53 degrees and a low of 38. Meaning that rain shouldn't turn to snow or sleet in the evening. Saturday will bring us the first sustained sunshine we have seen in a while, with mostly sunny skies and a high of 49 degrees, bottoming out to about 33 degrees on Saturday night. What do you say we check the community calendar now and see what's going on around the region and coming up for the weekend? A rabies clinic will be held at the Town Hall on Turnpike Road in Grafton, New Hampshire, coming up Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. The cost is $15 per shot, with proceeds going to benefit Grafton Recreation Committee. You can contact the number on the screen for more information. It is 603-523-9902. And the First Congregational Church on Pleasant Street in Claremont, New Hampshire holds a spring cleaning yard sale Saturday from 8:30 in the morning to noontime. There'll be toys and books, antiques, and collectibles, all available for purchase. And for all you foodies out there, Vital Communities is sponsoring a Flavors of the Valley Food Expo. Sunday at the Hartford High School in Hartford, Vermont from 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visitors will be able to sample fresh local dishes from area chefs, businesses, and farmers. The cost is $8 for individuals, $30 for families, and it is free for children under the age of 6. So, checking sports now. I'm filling in for Mike Pizzone tonight, and here's the story. In Claremont, the Stevens High School athletics program is losing their director. According to the Eagle Times, Aaron House has resigned as the athletic director for Stevens. House, who took up his position back in 2012, has taken the job of athletic director at Kingswood High School in Wolfboro, New Hampshire. House said he's going to miss the relationships that he's built in with the Cardinals, but cited increased autonomy as a chief factor in his decision to leave the Cardinals and accept the position at Kingswood. It's not yet known who the school will hire to replace House. YCN will keep you updated as the story develops. And with last night's snowfall, we're reminded that in New England, winter is never over, as soon as we hope, and his teams still languish indoors, waiting for snow to melt and fields to dry. We thought we'd take a look back at some of our local athletes who excelled this past winter, making New Hampshire and the New Hampshire State boys basketball team.
It's no surprise Lebanon had 3 All-State representatives after its deep tournament run, as KJ Maddie, Austin Whaley, and Ryan Milliken each earned the nod from opposing coaches. Maddie, who led all scorers with a game-high 23 points in the Division II semifinals, was selected to the first team, followed by Whaley, a junior forward, on the second team, and Milliken, a sophomore guard, earning honorable mention. Hanover's Ben Lynch was also represented in Division II, earning honorable mention for his role in helping the Marauders to a 12-8 record and a spot in the quarterfinals. In Division III, Newport leading scorer Andrew Hood was named to the first team, while classmate Spencer Coronis earned honorable mention. There were 2 other local honorable mention recipients as well, as Stevens sophomore Parker Smith and Muskoma senior Walter Hammond were also acknowledged by opposing coaches. Sunapee had 2 representatives in Division IV, as both Isaiah Chappelle and Matt Tenney were selected to the first team. Chappelle led the Lakers with 27.6 points per game, followed by Tenney at 17.9.
The Chargers of Colby Sawyer notched an impressive victory last night, defeating Southern Vermont 17-5 in a win that saw 9 different Colby Sawyer players score goals. Freshman Molly Mulcahy and Caitlin Weedy led the way with 4 goals apiece, followed by senior Michelle Upham, who found the back of the net 3 times. The win helps the Chargers improve to a 5-5 on the season. They'll head to Worcester, Mass, coming up on Saturday to take on the Becker College Hawks. And that's a look at sports. Coming up, we'll have part 4 of a conversation with New Hampshire State Representative Virginia Irwin of Newport. YCN's Capital Connections' John O'Connor has that interview when YCN News continues.
The YCN News continues in a moment.